All right, we got Evan on?
We do.
All right,
Yes,
Evan.
sir.
Evan, what's your last? Evan Matthew Pape or Pap?
It's Pap in American English, and in Hungary, I think it's Pop.
You're Hungarian?
Well, half Hungarian.
What's the other half?
Irish Hungarian.
Irish Hungarian. What an interesting mix. Your women are beautiful, by the way. In Hungary.
Well, you know. I thought you were talking about the Cleveland women.
Was that where you're from? Where are you from, born and raised, my friend?
Yeah, born in Cleveland, raised in Michigan, lived in Chicago.
Wow.
Lived around a little bit, went to Africa for a little bit and saw how great we have it here.
Yeah.
And, want to fight for what we have and expand it.
So you grew up in the blue wall, if you will, a blue wall that UCOMM helped give birth to again. So you have your experience with organized labor. Before we got you on, we were kind of making fun of your three names, but also you said you were a fellow in D.C. What the hell does that mean?
A fellow in D.C.
Yeah, didn't you say you had a fellowship?
Well, I was involved with a little group, New Leaders Council, and it's a national group, and it helps with progressive legislation. And Maryland is a very interesting state, and it should be very progressive, but we have a Republican governor. But I've been working a lot with people in PG County in Baltimore, and we are the horde on the edge of Rome, of Washington, D.C., a mile away from where I live.
Rome. Interesting. Now, I got your notes here, brother. Thank you. You were going to talk. You and I are going to talk in detail either later today or I'll give you a shout mañana about your strategy here. Now, we were just talking before you got on about we need 60 votes here and we got 50. And we went over who we could quite possibly turn. Pat Toomey in Pennsylvania and some dude Portman, Ohio. But you're talking about power mapping. Explain to me what that means. Explain to our audience what power mapping as far as strategy is.
Well, according to the press release by the Democrats on the PRO Act on February 4th, 41 senators have so far co-sponsored. So we're going to need 60 senators. So we still need to get 9 Democratic senators and 10 additional Republican senators to pass it in the Senate. On the House side, there's already a very large number who have endorsed it, and we're presuming already that it's going to pass in the House like it did last year. Still need to do the whip count of which Democratic senators and who are the 10 Republican senators we can lean on the most. So power mapping would be identifying those senators, identifying where their money comes from, identifying where they sleep, identifying where they eat, identifying who influences them, and getting in their shit.
I like this guy. So if we know that Pat Toomey, who's heavily funded by who, Brian?
Club for Growth.
Which is very anti-union, but he is friends with Dolly, and Dolly is, pro-union and very progressive, and they have dinner and they're childhood friends. We get to Dolly and say, Dolly, you need to tell Senator Toomey to do the right thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, of course. Are you talking about the one and only Dolly Parton?
I'm just assuming.
So 9 to 5 just came out, 9 to 5 documentary, and it's all about unions. So we should, get a hold of Dolly.
I think you know what I mean. Every white male in the Senate has a soft spot in their heart for women. Women make the best advocates. Have you ever seen Charlie Wilson's War? Every member has someone like that. Even I do. So, yes, that's what I mean. Now, message and lobbying, okay? You mentioned that the chamber came out against this, the U.S. chamber. No shit. And you're tracking all the enemies here. And you want us to develop key messaging that resonates with key audiences. So what do you mean? What would the key audiences would be the senator's constituency or the senators themselves? I don't know what you mean by that, brother.
I think you could have it both, but even taking a step back before going there, I think this is going to be an argument and it's going to be broken down on 3 simple messaging that both sides are going to try to frame. It's going to be about freedom versus force, prosperity versus poverty, and good versus evil. And the reactionaries are going to say the PRO Act, your hard-earned money on these unions, are going to go to lazy, corrupt union bosses, for union political fundraising for left-wing socialist, pro-abortion, freedom-hating California Democrats. And they'll say they essentially take away your freedom to work when you want, to use the gig economy and things like that. So they're going to say that the PRO Act is actually going to take away your freedom, it's going to take away your prosperity, and it's going to be used for evil against you. So what we need to essentially say, or at least ask the questions of people who may not care about the actual legislation, is, are you feeling more or less secure in your job? Is your income going up or down? Is your health care getting better or worse? Is your pension threatened or is it growing? Is your workplace safety getting better or worse? Are you protected to talk to your boss when he makes a mistake and when you can improve your workplace? I think most workers are going to say, hell no, we don't have these protections. And so we got to look at the PRO Act as, protecting the rights of workers, negotiating higher wages and more benefits, better, safer workplaces. And it ultimately, unions give you a voice, and a democratic voice at work, to be able to not only talk back to the boss, but to make your organization and business function better. And so that it's about freedom, and it's about equality, and it's about justice.
I like your targeted campaigns bullets here about using, flash interviews, short memes, social media memes, to sell that, and also how this may intertwine with the 2022 midterms. God, I hope not, brother. I hope that we can get this before the 2022 midterms. But how do you think about us not asking like Whoopi Goldberg and Dolly Parton to carry the water, but like ask, and not even a business manager or a president of a major local union or international union, but the workers themselves, like the average McDonald's worker being the spokesperson for this, and having even non-union advocating for this, and UCOMM PAC like backing that up, and other IEDs and super PACs, and even the Democratic Party itself interviewing someone without a title as our champion. Do you think that would bring in more people, or would people just say, "Oh, look, that's just the unions using some poor black McDonald's worker and exploiting them for their own interests"? How do you think that's going to be perceived in Washington?
Well, I wouldn't worry about Washington. I do think there's the intervention of the actual elected leadership in Washington, and making sure that wherever they go to eat and everything, we're on their ass, even though it's going to be harder during the pandemic. But I would say target the states. You got to go to the states and go to the places where these guys are, looking for votes, and use those workers to talk about it. And I do think that would be an effective campaign. Interesting.
So, Brian, is Alabama's senator in play at all?
One of them is retiring in the next term. So, I mean, we elected a Democrat there once. We do know that if African Americans, black people turn out, we have a shot.
Yeah.
So
we proved it in Georgia.
Yeah.
So
and we proved it when we won the special election there to elect Judge Jones.
Yeah. So, and then that means that Alabama, with these workers organizing at Amazon, they should be asked to take it one step further and be advocates for these short Evan Matthew Papp style videos, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Evan, you got to go to Alabama, buddy. Get a plane ticket. I'll reimburse you.
I'm ready. I also got a Buick. I could drive down there if needed. If you're on budget.
What year is your Buick?
2007.
Oh my God, you're so poor. We're all poor. I have a 2013.
That's why I need the PRO Act, baby.
I know. I have a 2013 Tahoe. I'm like the richest guy of the union movement right now. 2013. Before we cut you loose, any last thoughts on this, Evan? You and I are going to work closely together on this, and we really, folks, I freaking mean it. Give to UCOMM PAC $5, $10, $200. Evan and I and Brian are going to start working our circles to try to get the appropriate people on the phone so they understand that UCOMM PAC can be used as a force of good to take on evil, to help carry these messages. Evan, any last words before we bid you adieu on what we should be doing here to everybody listening?
Well, I just want to thank you for what you and your team are doing. I mean, there's false consciousness throughout the land, and what you're doing is raising class consciousness so that workers can see what's in their interest, material benefits, and just more freedom, ultimately. So I really appreciate what you're doing. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah,
on
me
this.
too, brother. Thank you so much for reaching out to me after I did that show with Garlic and doing all this work. I am impressed, and we're going to have a bright future together, brother. All right, we'll be in touch, all right, later today or mañana, okay?
All right.
Thanks, Evan.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Take care,
buddy.
everyone.
Take care.